So there's a popular new stock going around that is catching a lot of traction, and a lot of beginners are asking me if it's a good stock for them to invest in. So I want to share my thoughts. Again, this is just my opinion, and again, my focus is always just to look out for a beginner. The first one that I'm going to be talking about is, as many of you guys know, CRWV. So again, if you want to invest in this and you're an adult, be my guest, right? Um, Very quickly, just I'm going to point out the red flags. It's relatively a new company. It looks like it just IPO'd earlier this year. It went from lows of $33 to current highs of $162. Now, you can think that this is the most amazing company ever, but this type of return, it's not long lived, right? It's up over 360% within a total of 44 days, and it could still pump up higher. Let me make that very clear, right? This is what we call a pump and dump, right? Where you could see the normal trading volume when it used to trade flat, and then when the volume began to pick up based off of, more buying pressure, but potentially more selling pressure. It is notorious for, yes, quickly gapping up, and it could be a great way to make money in a short period of time, but it comes at an insane amount of risk. Based off previous patterns, I mean, it's had rip ups and it's had rip downs. It lost 18% in just a matter of a day or a few hours, and then it quickly recovered it. So this is great, and it reminds me of the whole GameStop movement. Everyone loves to talk about it. Everyone loves to buy it when direction is favorable because we're pretty much at almost all-time highs. So it's almost impossible to have lost any money. So a lot of people right now are probably very bullish on CoreWeave, right? But you have to remind yourself, this thing is not long-lived, right? It is not going to hold this direction for a long period of time. Very simple. Either the hype eventually will end up fading for CoreWeave, or if market sentiment begins to change, then at the end of it, this thing simply will not have the environment to be thriving in. So if you're a good trader and you're experienced, sure, this could be a really lucrative momentum trade to continue to go long or short, just depending on how it is and what it is that's presenting itself for the day, right? But if you're a beginner, no, I do not believe that CoreWeave would be a good investment. If we look at CoreWeave and what it actually is, it's also compared with Applied Digital, are striking a deal around AI data centers and clean energy stocks following on Monday's session. So again, I just hate when companies run off of the hype of AI. No one knows what this company does, and it just has the word AI in it, so it's trendy enough to jump into it. When we look into the financials of CoreWeave, and again, like I said, if you buy CoreWeave, it does nothing for me. It doesn't hurt me. It doesn't go against me. I don't trade this stock, but I'm looking out for a beginner. The PE ratio is negative 62.7 times its earnings. It's one of the worst ones I've ever seen out of any stock that's publicly traded. This company's revenue is supposedly $2.7 billion. And I see a lot of people on Twitter talking about that hopefully by the end of the year, we can get closer to $5 billion. I want to remind you, revenue means nothing when it comes down to actual net income of what a company makes. This company loses $1 billion every single year. So that's why it has a negative PE ratio. If we look at its current market cap, it has a market cap of $62 billion, $61.2 billion. So again, all the red flags are there. It has an insane valuation, insane market cap, $671 billion. It loses $1 billion in net income every single year. And within 44 days, it went from $33 to $162. So can you make money trading CoreWeave, going long or going short if you're experienced? Sure, you can make money trading anything, right? But is it worth the risk? That is a question only you can answer. All depending on your risk tolerance will determine if this stock is something that you can tolerate the pullbacks on, If it continues to push up, knowing when to take profits. The thing that I want to remind you, and I'd love to follow up with this stock eventually, is that it will all eventually come to an end, right? And the unfortunate part about this is that the more hype that it gains, the more attention from beginners it will get, and the more that they will buy at overbought levels, because they're just going to continue to stack. They don't know how to manage risk, and it's just going to take one bad trade. And you know exactly what I'm talking about. It will only take one bad trade for them to bag hold and give back everything it is that they made. And now they're going to end up in the red, right? They're like, oh my God, this is terrible. I never want to do this again. But again, it's very simple. This is, in my opinion, a trading vehicle. It's not an investment, right? Based off of all the hype and all the red flags that are presenting themselves. You shouldn't be afraid to enter and exit maybe all within the same day, as long as direction and criteria are favorable. But like all things, it will eventually come to an end when it comes down to these hype meme stocks. So respect that or get humbled by the market. That's the way that I see it. So CoreWeave, again, incredibly bullish stock, and it's still incredibly bullish, far above the moving average, far above the EMA, but it comes at a huge form of risk. Who knows how high this thing can go, 180, 200. The list, there never is technically a cap on how high these stocks can pump. But we all know that they eventually will correct itself. And very simple. Can you tolerate it and can you manage it? If the answer is no, then I would stay away. Huge retracement potential if it goes back down to its $33 price point. It has $76% potential to lose. So does that mean that you need to short it? No, because direction is still bullish and a pump can continue to pump. So again, on both sides, it comes at a huge form of risk. And please, if you're a beginner, I would personally stay away. Don't just look into the technicals, but look into the financials if you're choosing to invest in a company. And with this one, there's too many red flags that I just don't think it's worth it. So we'll talk a little bit more about this during one of our live sessions. Again, if you guys have any questions, feel free to comment down below. Just wanted to make sure that I did my part in keeping you guys up to date. So hopefully I earned your thumbs up. Please consider subscribing. And like always, let's make sure that we end the year on a green note. Take care, team.